and it let out this blood-curdling, guttural scream.
On the side of the road, he sees a deer carcass and something eating on it, which he thought was a bear. And as the lights hit it, it stood up. And, like, this gives me chills talking about it. He said it stood up and it had the face of a man.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Friday Night Bigfoot Live right here at the Bigfoots of America podcast show. I'm your host, Bryan Sawyer, coming at you. So good to be with you on a Friday night. We originally had a guest planned and they had to cancel. And so we're going to do a free-for-all tonight. And this is kind of very important free-for-all. We're going to talk about basically the Hollywood connection with the government and recent current events. Something has happened in the government, and Sherry Redu, actually, I had seen it but hadn't had time to look into it, but Sherry Redu pointed it out, and I just want to pull it up really quick before I bring on the other co-host, and it's the insider Trump UFO files blocked for religious reasons. Okay, so Trump wanted to release the UFO files, and this particular article is saying that they've been blocked due to religious reasons. All right, now let me read the article real quick. And this is by Christina Gomez, I believe, or Sidewalks and Skeletons. According to reporting by the International Business Times, sources inside the Pentagon are pushing back against Trump's UAP disclosure order, not over national security, but over something far more unsettling. Some officials reportedly believe that the UAP phenomenon carries what insiders are calling demonic or interdimensional implications, and that releasing this data could trigger religious upheaval on a global scale. Filmmaker and UAP researcher Mark Christopher Lee claims a Washington source warned him directly of massive internal resistance, with certain Pentagon figures believing that these crafts do not fit any standard extraterrestrial explanation. Congressman Tim Burchett, Congressman Eric Burleson, and Representative Anna Paulina Luna have all publicly called for full disclosure, with Burchett confirming he has personally seen photographs and videos inside classified briefing facilities. Now, Senator John Kennedy stated on record that he is not certain UAP information has ever been fully communicated with sitting presidents, but the data exists, the witnesses exist, and yet the files remain locked, reportedly because what is inside them does not just challenge science, but in other words, it challenges the religious narrative. All right, I'm going to go ahead and bring our co-host in. Sherry Redu.
Hello, boom, boom.
Hey, Brenda Goodwin.
Hello.
And Tim Dills. What's going on,
Hey,
everybody?
Not a thing.
Good to see you. I had to get my sip of coffee there. I read the article. Let's get into this. And what are your thoughts? I'll kick it off by saying, look, when it comes down to it, nobody really knows if we're talking about UFOs, if we're talking about Bigfoot, if we're talking about all the cryptid paranormal stuff that we talk about on the show. Nobody really knows exactly what they are. We have some very good clues given to us through science, through the biblical narrative, through other sources, and what mainly through what? Our eyewitnesses. So I'm going to say, I'm very careful with settling into a camp as a Christian on certain things, I do maybe lean with the biblical narrative that, hey, this could be this, and just be aware. So, Sherry, we'll go ahead and start off with you. We actually have so much to talk about. So, Sherry, what are your thoughts about this article?
Well, interesting, because you've been saying it off and on here throughout our shows about the connection between Hollywood and the government. And I thought it was, with all the movies that have been made to date, it still shows those little things that are real to me. You see them and you hear witness accounts, and I already saw that in a movie, or I already saw this somewhere else. So it makes you wonder how much is really hidden. And if they were to disclose this information, and they're concerned about religion and the religious people, in my opinion, I think we know where we stand. But hey, I say let it go. Let everybody know once and for all. I mean, think about this. I don't know if you all know about this, but if you look at the Mona Lisa portrait, in the background of her portrait is a UFO. This is centuries old. How long have they been around? The pyramids have been created. This has been around, and they're among us.
Right.
I've seen them. Right. I've witnessed UAPs. I mean, you're not going to change my mind convince me any other way that they don't exist. Are they demonic? Are they interdimensional? Of course, probably are good ones and bad ones, like we have, like we have everywhere, right? Good and evil. So why not? Why not? Why can't other dimensions have those good and bad? But hey, I say let it be. Who knows where they're at right now? They could be sitting in our government for all we know, and they'll see.
Yeah, for sure. Michael Gale's tuning in on YouTube. We'll talk to some of our guests right now. All Thumbs Kitten is tuning in, says good evening. Yeah, both of them say good evening and hello, everyone. Mike Nation says hello, everybody. All right, very cool, very cool. I got to pull up our Facebook stuff. But Tim, what are your thoughts on all this? I know, like when I first started the Bigfoot stuff, I was kind of sold out on the L.A. Marzulli narrative. Oh my gosh, they're all going to eat us, and it's going to be part of God's judgment. And lock your doors and get your guns out because they're coming. But Tim Dills, my former member, current member, I'm team member with on the NCI team, North Carolina Investigates. He's kind of talked me down a little bit. So, Tim, give it to us.
I've actually seen UFOs, UAPs, whatever they're calling them nowadays.
Right.
And I actually saw one just a few weeks ago. So there's so much going on that our government covers up. It don't surprise me. They could come out tomorrow and tell me that they got 15 replicas of the Loch Ness Monster, and I'd say, well, it's about time you told somebody. You know what I mean? It's when you're dealing with the government, unfortunately, you have very few people that are going to tell you the truth. They think that we can't handle it. No, us rational people, we can handle it. That ain't no big deal. But I think the reason they keep it hid is it's because of something they want covered up, not that we can't handle it.
And there you hit on a point. Okay, let me read. Well, here, let's check in with Facebook really quick. George Lunsford is watching us. George Lunsford, you stay right there because I got a score to settle with you. Everybody, George Lunsford on the NCI show last night. George doused my flame with logic and reason. I was all excited. I had just watched the 13th Warrior movie with Antonio Banderas for about the 15th time, and I was all excited. And I'm like, if you watch that movie through a lens of Bigfoot, that's what they're talking about. They're talking about Bigfoot. And then George Lunsford had to bring the truth in and spoil everything. So Thanks for being honest, George. But he's here and he says hello, everyone. Brian
No.
Russell says hello. Tracy Lynn says hello.
Mhm.
Enrique Ricardo, work buddy of mine, Sombrano, says hello, everyone. Hope everyone is doing well today. Donna Copus is tuning in. Love Donna. Donna is just, I'll tell you, isn't she the best matriarch ever?
Yep.
All right. Okay. Enrique says the history and the religion that we know is not what reality is. I know some people will think bad about what I just said, but that's the truth. The Vatican are fake as heck. Boom. Boom. If we were able to go
Yes.
into the archives of the Vatican, what do you
Yes.
think we would find? Oh my goodness! All right, let's go ahead and bring Brenda Goodwin in. Let's give us your opinion real quick, and then we're going to deal with all the other things we got to deal with today.
Well, I know I've seen something odd, like a tic tac shape thing. It was, flying super fast, and then it arced up and disappeared, and it's like, like the opposite of a falling star. Falling stars don't, arc up and just disappear. They fall down. They fall. That's why they're called falling stars. But it was kind of like that, but went up. But yeah, I mean, that's not going to affect my faith that, if they have full disclosure. It's like everybody
Awesome.
knows already. But yeah, I agree with Tim. It's something they want to cover up. Yeah,
Hmm.
something they
No.
want to cover up. It's not other people, I mean, some people it would make them question their faith, but I don't see why.
Gotcha.
Personally.
Gotcha. Good stuff. Good stuff. Now, I want to read something. This is part of the conspiracy theory. Oh, we got somebody else here. Let's go ahead and bring in. Is it Scott Brown? Oh, it's Rachel. Good,
Oh,
good, good. Rachel,
there he
welcome
is.
to the show.
Sorry I'm late. I'm having laptop trouble over here.
No worries. Hopefully, your connection will stay true. And I'm going to read something, Rachel, and then we're going to go ahead because we all need to get more familiar with you, and then we'll get back to the subject that we're talking about. But here's what I wanted to read. I'm trying to kind of track down, and George Lunsford, all the smart people in the world, they can help with this, is when did all this stuff really kind of start? Is it just knowledge we lost, like maybe the mythology of ancient Greek times, the Roman times? Well, here's a conspiracy, and we've all heard about this before, the 1954 conspiracy with President Dwight D. Eisenhower at Edwards Air Force Base, California, and saying that he met with some aliens. Supposedly, he said he had, it was like a dental emergency type of cover up. And the meeting during a vacation in Palm Springs, Eisenhower allegedly flew to Edwards Air Force Base to meet with aliens. He had an encounter with Nordic aliens. Some accounts describe these beings as resembling Scandinavian humans who communicated telepathically and urged the U.S. to eliminate its nuclear arsenal. And the alternative, another alternative is that he met with a different group of aliens negotiating a pact that allowed them to abduct limited numbers of humans as cattle for research in exchange for technology. So
Yep.
did somebody make a deal where these aliens are allowed to abduct American citizens, and in exchange, we get technology? Well, I mean, I'm thankful we've got a leg up on everybody else concerning technology, because then we might be in trouble, but it's like, oh my goodness, is that true? So everybody stew on that. Rachel, welcome to the show, Bigfoots of America. I've met you on the NCI podcast show live Tuesdays and Thursdays at 7 p.m. And I don't know you that well, and you're a friend of Tim's and the whole team, but it's time for me to get to know you. So how did you started getting involved in all this paranormal stuff?
I've always been interested in the paranormal. I've always seen stuff as a child I couldn't explain, and I've just always been obsessed with it. And never really got into the Bigfoot thing until I got around Tim. I sent him a picture of a track that I found around here and sent it to him. And from there, we started going out and hitting the woods and Bigfoot hunting. Now I'm
Awesome.
obsessed with it. So we do Bigfoot hunting and paranormal hunting and just pretty much everything now.
Very cool. Very cool. It is very fun and entertaining, yet very serious because even like how Sherry Redu, her first encounter with Sasquatch was just because she didn't believe in it. And then it just kind of shook her to the core. And so a lot of our eyewitnesses, it's been kind of heavy on them. But welcome to the show, man. Good to have you
Thanks.
on.
Good to be here.
Yes, welcome.
Thank
Hey,
you.
Bryan, have we got time for her to tell you about how she got into it with the track and everything about her dogs?
Always. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Now, now that I put her on the spot.
Yeah. Thanks, Tim. I was out walking my dogs, and I got a plot hound that he pulls really bad. You cannot hang on to the dude. I had a rock in my shoe, and I was kind of messing around there. Well, he takes off. He has 2 collars on him, and the leash that it's actually a horse rope that he had on him. And then I had another little puppy, and he was completely feral, won't let anybody around him except for me, and I can't catch him whenever he's outside. He's gotten a little bit better, but not much. It's just the breed of dog he is. Anyway, they both took off. Couldn't find him. I chased him as far as I could. I ended up, that weekend I was off work, I spent all weekend up there in the woods just camping out, looking for him. Every time I would call for him, I would think that I would hear him over here, and then I would take off that way, and I would no more than get in the direction that I thought that I would hear them, and then they'd be back over here, like back behind me. And it was just like the sound was bouncing all over the place. I finally found them 3 days later. Both collars were gone off him. The rope was gone. And the little one, his collar was gone, and he's kind of fluffy. His hair was just perfect, looked like he'd been groomed. They'd obviously been fed whenever I got them back home after 3 days. They didn't want to eat. They weren't tired. I don't think that any human could have got close enough to my other dog, the feral one, to have got his collar off because he won't let anyone anywhere near him at all. I don't know what, but it was a crazy situation, but that's whenever I found that track.
How big was the track? Sasquatch track?
Yeah, it's twice the size of my foot, so I'd say like 20 to 22 inches, somewhere in there.
Oh my gosh. Hey Tim, isn't it kind of rule of thumb? So say you got a 22-incher, then that Sasquatch could be around, they always say cut it in half, like 11, 10, maybe 10 feet. That's a big sucker.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was wandering all over the woods, so this was way off the beaten path. It was down by a spring where I found this track.
Isn't that awesome? Like when you find stuff when you know nobody else is around and you're like, come on.
If I can find it real quick, I'll forward it over to you.
Okay, cool. I won't be able to put it up. I'm working on switching the laptop, and boy, my respect goes out to Robert Glenn Effler. Last night, man, I was just sending him photo after photo, and then I've been working with the laptop, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's harder than, working things on a phone. But if you get the picture, just kind of hold it up to your camera, and then we'll be able to see it from there. But very cool, very cool.
I don't know if there's a glare on that or.
Oh my gosh, wow. I can see it.
That's big.
Yeah, turn it a little bit to knock off the glare, but oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, we see it.
Oh, wow.
That is probably the best track I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Wow. Good stuff. So, Rachel, you've been on the show. Is your mind getting blown by like all the things you've heard me talk about? Hey, I've had a fairy sighting. I never believed in fairies, and all of a sudden, once right before my face. Sherry Redu never believed in Bigfoot, and then all of a sudden, there's one right in front of her face. What are your thoughts on all this?
No, I think the fairies are very much real. I mean, I've always heard, even whenever I was a kid, whenever you enter into the woods, you should knock on a tree and let them know that you're there, or leave an offering of tobacco or something, because they're watching you. You're entering their home. You're out of your territory and you're entering their territory.
Well, I got a surprise. We've got so much to do on the show tonight, guys. I don't know if we'll get through it all, but I'm glad she said that because I have. I'm going to show you a picture. I'm not going to tell you where it came from. Right now, I'm talking with the eyewitness. I got to leave it vague like that. This is believed to be real. You take it as you take it. I hope George Lunsford is still watching and the whole NCI team, but here you go. It's been cut off at the neck. This is a reptilian cobra type head, almost with even a hood on it. And this thing was beheaded. There are blood markings on it as well. Let me read the account if I can find it real quick. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to pull her up, but it gets a little bit more descriptive. But so think reptilian snake type being. Okay, I'm going to see if I can get what exactly was said about it really quick here. And then we're going to talk about movies. So everybody, do me a favor. Everybody at home listening, all my co-hosts, think of one movie that you believe could be a secret spy op given from the government to Hollywood and is now a movie. So think of a movie. I'm going to try to find this real quick. Hopefully I can get this. Ooh, I don't think that's going to work. Oh, wait, hold on. Maybe. All right, hold on. All right, here we go. Looks like that's some of.
So, while Brian's looking for that, so Rachel, I just have a question for you. May I ask?
Thank you.
So, what I was going to ask you, so do you believe your dogs were actually harbored by the Bigfoot?
I am not sure. I don't know where they went. The property that they took off on is 1,500 acres of protected land, and right beside that is the Blue Ridge Parkway. So
Okay.
There's no houses or anything for miles and miles. They're usually not that bad to, take in the woods or anything. I don't know what went on. I just know it was awful strange. And I know one night whenever I was looking for them, I took off up the trail with a flashlight with brand new batteries in it, and I had a pistol in my back pocket. And something just told me, I got freaked out. I wouldn't go any further. The flashlight turned off, and I just had like a weird feeling come over me, and I kept camping down in my Jeep. I wouldn't go up on the trail and camp, and that's the first time I've ever been freaked out like that, because it doesn't bother me one bit just to walk out into the woods and go by myself in the middle of the night. That's the first time it's ever freaked me out.
Oh, goodness. Wow, it would, wouldn't it?
So I'm not sure what happened there. I just know that the barks kept getting to me, because I'd go this way and then I'd want to head that way, and it would be behind me. Then I'd take off that way. Then they'd be over here, or they'd be over here. It was just like all over the place. And I know they weren't making circles.
Wow.
So it's just strange activity. I really don't know.
Knowing Bigfoot's like that, I think they was just messing with you, just playing.
Yeah.
Mimicking the dogs.
My own dog's got a very distinctive bark, and it sounded just like him.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow. That's what happened. That one picture I got, they barked at me, Scout, the Bigfoot I had contact with, barked at me, and then I was able to set the camera down, pan it real quick. All right, so this cobra picture, there's bruising, trauma, and blood trails coming from the neck. It's believed to be real. I guess a Roger Spur first turned my eyewitness onto that, so it might not be so private. But I'm just being careful with my eyewitness until I get the all go ahead. So that picture, boy, wow, that is something else. That is believed to be real, and of course, it's petrified by now. It's an old one.
Is that in Michigan?
No,
Oh,
that's what I
okay.
can say. No, no, no. So
Okay.
there
Thank God
is,
for that.
I'm
there
glad.
is. I know, right? Gosh, man. I'm supposed to get together with the Wendigo guy we talked about a couple of weeks ago and go to location with him. And then that way we're kind of together, not alone, and investigate the area. So that's coming up. I'm going to do a video of that. But okay, so whether we're talking about Bigfoot, aliens, reptilians, dogmen, what's going on with all this stuff? Now, I'm going to make a connection and we're going to bring George Lunsford into it really quick. I've come across something in one of his books. All right. Legends, Myths, Monsters, and Ghosts. This is the USA edition. And I came across a creature in his book I'd never heard about before. And it reminds me of a Hollywood movie. So I'm going to read this right up from George Lunsford, and then I'm going to connect it to a Hollywood movie that is similar to it. And so George Lunsford says the Snallygaster, okay? Snallygaster, Snallygaster. And he said, now let's talk about a creature that should not have made it past the ice age, but apparently this creature never got the memo. The creature is not well known to most people, even though it has been around for many, many years. The Snallygaster stories come along with the German immigrants in the 1730s. They believe that it lived in the caves of southern mountains in Maryland. Okay, of the southern mountains in Maryland. The immigrants settled in Washington and Frederick counties, where they called the creature a Schnellergeist, meaning quick spirit. They said the creature emerges from the caves to attack their farm animals and children. These creatures were large enough to take a full-grown person with ease. This creature has been called a dragon-like or even demonic type creature. They say it has very large, grayish, half reptile, half bird with a long, hard beak, leathery wings that stretch from 6 to 10 feet, long, thin claws that are as sharp as a razor, and have a grip like a vice. They existed during most of the Mesozoic era till the latest Triassic era. There's all these big words again, George Lunsford. About 228 to 66 million years ago. And so here's the question George poses. He says, here's the question. Do you think there is a chance that these creatures were hibernating in these caves and in the 1930s woke up? With a population of just a few, they could quickly multiply. Each female would lay and hatch around 5 eggs. All right? The Snallygaster. What movie does that? We're talking about the government and Hollywood connection. What movie immediately came to mind was The Tomorrow War with Chris Pratt. Aliens, spaceship hit. It's frozen in the tundra type area, starts to thaw out, and then all of a sudden, all these creatures are all over the place, eating everybody and everything. They are the alpha predator of the world in the Tomorrow War with Chris Pratt. And then Chris Pratt has to, what? He has to transport to the future to help fight this war before there's an extinction of the human population on Earth. So I made my connection. People, do you all at home have a movie that comes to mind that could have a government connection? I brought up Close Encounters of the Third Kind. I brought up, what's the other one I always bring up? I don't know. It was 13th Warrior.
E.T.
E.T. That's it. Yeah, supposedly Steven Spielberg had a briefing from the CIA, and out of that briefing with the CIA, he made 2 movies, Close Encounters of the Third Kind and
Yep.
E.T., except in reality, E.T. melted your body with his finger rather than healing you. So, all right, what do you guys got? You got any thoughts?
Independence Day.
Ooh,
Mhm.
good one. I'm writing it. I've got a huge list here. I'm writing it down.
Oh, I've got a good one. Contact with
Yeah,
Jodie
Oh,
Foster and Matthew
love
and
that.
McConaughey.
okay. All right, I'm gonna look online, see if anybody's got anything. Any
Is it
more? Keep
They
spotting them off.
Live?
That's my favorite. I'm about to order a They Live picture. If you have not seen what Rachel said, if you have not seen They Live with Rowdy Roddy Piper from the late 70s, early 80s, oh my gosh,
Early
that's a bomb.
The Truman Show.
Truman
Mm.
Show.
Alien.
Predator.
Predator.
Of course.
Mhm.
I've been watching Percy Jackson series on Walt Disney. It's a kids series, but they
I've
get
seen
in
those.
depth with all their Greek mythology. You gotta watch it. Oh,
Yeah, those are good movies.
Robert Glenn, or Jerry Millwood mentioned Stranger Things as another connection.
Mm.
All right, Enrique Ricardo Zambrano says the history and the religion that we know is not what reality is. I know some people will think bad. All right, we already read that one, but it's the truth. I get it. The Vatican, what the Vatican knows. George, George Lunford's laughing at me.
Which one was it? Which one was it with Tom Hanks? Was that Demons and Angels?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Right?
the Da Vinci Code, and
The Da
then
Vinci
the
Code.
second one was Demon and Angels. I think.
Yeah, that
Yes.
scared me.
Yep. George Lunsford, if you could expound, you said you've seen 2 and have pictures of dozens. The knowledge was stolen. Tessa Louise says, hello, everyone. E Pluribusto says, what's up, Brian? Jerry Lou Patterson, it says, OCO, mean hello, how are you? Or how are you? Val, my friend, Old Time Val, says, hello, everyone. Donna Copa says,
Hello.
in around 1970, there was a sighting of what the locals called a lizard man with the head of a lizard type creature and body of a man. They said it was around 6 foot tall. All right, Donna Copus, when I come back to finish filming your episode, let's talk about that. I'm going to screenshot this. All right. Arrival. Enrique says Arrival.
Mm-hmm. That's a good one.
Dennis Dean says, hello, everyone. Good to see everybody looking on YouTube. YouTube's a little harder to get to. All right. Why does this thing... Oh, new comments right there. Greenland. Oh, very good. Very good.
I love that movie.
Yeah, all thumbs kitten. And you know what? So let's talk about Greenland for a second. Right here. So if we talk about this book, The Wormwood Prophecy, in a nutshell, by Thomas Horn, who has since passed away, God rest his soul. Thomas Horn had an inside scoop with NASA that, yes, there is a meteor, and they named it Apophis. Whether you want to call it an asteroid, a meteor, I'm not sure the difference. But out of that discovery, they made 2 movies, Armageddon with Billy Bob Thornton and Bruce Willis, and they also made Deep Impact with what's his name, Elijah Wood.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There used to be an asteroid that was actually called Wormwood, and they changed the name of it.
Oh.
Yes, and that's from the Bible. So the Wormwood
Yeah,
Prophecy.
that's curious.
And then, another one I watched when I was sick is The Great Wall with Matt Damon. Because I had heard, hey, there was a possibility they built that Great Wall in China to fend off against giants. There's an old narrative about that. But in the Great Wall movie, they are fending off giant lizard type beings that were affected or came from a meteor that hit and everything turned green. And there seems to be Man, I don't know if I can find it. Oh, it might be right here. The Second Coming of Saturn is a book written by Derek Gilbert, and we're praying for Derek Gilbert. He is sick right now. He has pneumonia, but he's in the hospital. Great author and talk show host. I've been on his show. Derek Gilbert wrote this called The Second Coming of Saturn, and he talks about a blue alien deity that he believes is going to come to Earth and possibly even be the Antichrist. But he does a whole historical reference through this book to biblical narratives and all that kind of stuff. So this is getting on the fringe edge of Christianity, but there always seemed to be with aliens a greenish tone or a bluish tone to these beings. The fairy I saw, that was grayish blue, you know?
Is that kind of like Nibiru, the 12th planet by Zachariah Sitchin?
Yeah.
Yeah. The Anakim, is it? Old Sumerian. Yeah. Anunnaki. That's it. All right. Enrique said arrival. Dennis Dean says hello, everyone. Donna Copus says absolutely. I'll take you to the area. It's around an old church and cemetery in the woods. And Valina, Val's watching. And what about Noah with Russell Crowe? Yep, which is from the real Bible. Yeah, we've seen different depictions of all of that. All right, I want to switch gears for a second, and then we'll come back to this. I kind of have a checklist here. I'm trying whenever possible to do recent Bigfoot or Dogman or any kind of cryptid sightings here in Michigan. I have an eyewitness who wants to remain anonymous. I'm going to read his account of what just happened this past week. And I'm going to try to do this correctly so I don't give away. Hold on a second, guys. My apologies. If I can find it again. Come on, man. I'm switching gears here. All right. Hold on. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to try to read this. I got to omit names and locations for it now. All right, so this is recent, the second week of January. So right around the time we had the Dogman sighting on the West Coast in Muskegon County. So it happened the second week of January. Some friends of mine and I were out at our spot. We set up a makeshift blind about a week prior, so they've been out there a few days. Now they set up near. I'm going to say water. Well, I guess I can mention a canal. There's a ton of canals. Notice that they had some trails. They referencing the Sasquatch clan that this individual deals with, and that they were coming and going. So they found footprints. They found the trail. All this a full Sasquatch clan. The one is a cinnamon color and pretty rambunctious. We did the trick I showed you. I can talk about this trick because Tim, you might know about it. Basically, they're dousing themselves in with a certain kind of spray that resembles deer urine, I think it is. Mm-hmm. And so we did that trick I showed you. We covered our scents. We did some calls of deer in distress. He said, I think maybe close to dark, we watched two young male Sasquatches cross the creek into our location. One of my friends got scared and startled them. So at this location, my friend of mine, and I can't wait to get out there. I've been out there with them once or twice already. But we haven't done an all-nighter, and this is when they come out. Well, he had taken another friend out there for the first time, and this friend, once you see these things, got startled and a little bit nervous, which exposed their location. It startled the Sasquatch. The male started to whoop. The young male started to whoop and make calls. Suddenly, we heard brush moving behind us. So these two young male Sasquatch are in front of them. Suddenly, we hear the brush moving behind us, and there it is, the cinnamon-colored Sasquatch, along with two other large black-colored ones. So right now, they're kind of surrounded by Sasquatch. So we had two in front and we had three behind us, and we just stayed put and didn't move. He said we watched him for a long time, and then we started to not feel good. So now we're talking about infrasound, everybody. He said we started to not feel good. Headaches like never before, dizzy. One of the guys got really sick, and after the Sasquatch finally moved off, we had to wait for about 30 minutes before we got our just even wherewithal back together, because they were so affected by the infrasound. We didn't waste any time, and we headed back to the truck. All of us did not feel right for a long time with headaches. I even missed 3 days of work, and it looks like they're at that property all year long, because this has been one of the things. Sorry, I was out there with a friend, and that friend has since passed away. So sorry, I just remembered that. So I've been out there with the eyewitness, and then I went out with another friend. And then he passed away. So it looks like they are wintering at the property next to the spot and using the trail. I know a trail he's talking about. There's a new trail we found. So he said, I can honestly say they didn't know we were there until my one friend got spooked and gave away our location. And then the juveniles started howling and yipping. And he says, the scent stuff really works. And the fake fawn and distress calls are what really made it happen and drew the juveniles in. He said, health-wise, we're slowly getting back to normal. He says it really, really sucked. Let's see. We also set up. He said we also set up so the wind was in our face and basically and got that stink they had sprayed themselves with out there into the area. The cinnamon one also was acting very aggressive and did a bluff charge as well. We haven't been back to that location since then. So there you go, everybody. We got a recent dogman attack from January 2026, and now multiple Sasquatch sighting. I'm gonna give I can say Saginaw Bay area. So there we go, man. We are up to date with the current sightings here in Michigan, and then of course we got the Wendigo sighting. Also, I could talk all day long. Nora Scott, who's also going to be in season 3, she has had alien activity. Dawn Alice out in Maryland has had UFO activity. I've got some pictures of that. So now let's all get back to it. Let's talk about the movie stuff. I know I got a couple of more. What other movies do you guys think could be real, known by our government, and led on to Hollywood to make a movie or something?
I got another one for you.
What you got?
Soylent Green.
Yeah.
What is it?
Soylent Green.
Charlton
I have not
Heston.
seen that.
Charlton Heston.
Yeah.
You know what? That's a good point.
When I watched that, that was ugh.
Yeah.
It was a horrible movie, but I mean,
Become a cracker.
See, now that's an older one, and this is what we're trying to dig into. 1954 was the Eisenhower account where he supposedly met with aliens. I love this horror cinema book. When did they start coming out with the creature from the Black Lagoon, the Wolfman, Dracula? We're finding out that vampires are real. Oh my gosh, Michael Gale on YouTube just said Battleship. I love that movie. That's with Taylor Kish. Check that movie out as well. That's aliens coming down, man. Oh my gosh. I forgot about that one. I gotta write it.
What about Star Trek and Star Wars?
Yeah.
Bam.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
And I know that this is going to sound funny, but I also think Harry and the Hendersons.
I love that movie.
Because honestly, the way that Harry was in the movie is actually how most of the Bigfoots I've encountered have acted. We've had one bluff charge, but that was because we got between her and her little one. But they're always curious and coming around, seeing just to see what you're doing and all of that stuff. And to me, that actually catches more of the side, not where he's hiding the deer heads and trying to cover them up, because I know they eat deer and hogs and all of that stuff. But the way that they do, especially there at the end when he walked back in and it looked like tree stumps,
Mm-hmm.
and then all of them started walking with him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
To
Wow.
me,
that was good.
that hit home big time, because I was like, that's exactly how they do. They stand there and let you walk all around them and don't move, and then when you got your back turned, they'll move.
Mm, good stuff. Good stuff. All right. I
So,
got something else
what
here on
about
YouTube.
Brian? What do y'all think about Avatar?
Without a doubt,
Mhm.
blue. They're blue. There's a connection there. Blue and green.
Maybe a
Mud
related
sniper.
to Anunnaki.
Ah,
Yep.
yeah, Rachel. Yeah,
Oh yeah. One of my favorite movies, Mud Sniper just brought up, is the movie with Mel Gibson and Joaquin Phoenix called Signs.
yeah.
Yes.
Fantastic movie. Fantastic. One of the best alien
Yes.
movies out there. And then Mike Nation says Space Jam. Space Jam with Michael Jordan. Thank you. Thank you for that one. Oh gosh,
What
that's
about
funny.
Galaxy Quest?
That was a good one.
I
That
love that.
was
I was going to
yeah.
say, at least he didn't say space balls with Mel Brooks.
What about 1984? Didn't they make a movie out of that? I know there's the book by George Orwell, but I'm thinking they made a movie. It might be a documentary. I'm not sure.
um
I think they did.
Yeah, I think there
wait.
is a movie 1984.
Oh yeah, yeah. There might be. Which brings into mind World of Worlds. Sherry, you mentioned that before
Mhm,
we
mhm.
came on. And then guys mentioning about Harry and the Hendersons. It is who is this? Man, this is hard here. I can't wait to use the laptop. Mike Nation says, talking about Harry and the Hendersons, they make you think that they're just flesh and blood and they have no special powers. So that's we're talking about the woo side, which I believe in, the mind speak, the cloaking. And that was made for a good TV show, though. Forbidden Planet. Ooh.
Yeah,
I don't know that one. Forbidden. I
yeah,
gotta write that down.
yeah.
All right, all right. And that is from Forbidden Planet, is from, if I can get this working here. Oh, that's from Ed Rock, who we met at the South Carolina Bigfoot Festival. Speaking
Mhm.
of that, everyone, me and the NCI team, or the NCI team and me, I'm part of the NCI team. We're going to be speaking at the Georgia Bigfoot Conference, March 21st, Saturday, March 21st, in Clayton, Georgia. So if you can show up to that, that would be spectacular. I've also booked a date here at the Port Sanilac Museum and Historical Society. I'll be giving a lecture there on all things cryptid and Bigfoot Triangle here in the thumb of Michigan. That will be September 2nd of 2026. Now, if we start talking about one of my favorite childhood toys, the $6 million man, this now hindsight being 2020, right? We start thinking about cyborgs and AI and the implementation of biomachinery and biological people. So we got that. And then I even think like things like Godzilla and King Kong. I think those are a reference, as we see in the Godzilla movies, to the Titans, which is part of ancient Greek mythology.
Mm.
What
And I
was that
gotta
one? That
go
one
ahead.
movie. There was a movie about Mars with Gary Sinise and John Malkovich. Um, they found that forget the name of it. They they went to Mars to rescue
Oh, I know which
some
one you're talking
people,
about.
and
Can't.
then they went inside the big face mound that was on
Yes.
Mars.
I remember it, but I can't remember the
I
name
can't
either.
remember the name of it. That was a good movie.
Yeah, That was something Gate, wasn't it? Something. I don't remember that
Yep.
name.
Hey, Val wants to know where Tim Dills is from. Tim Dills is from North Carolina. Val, a little bit later after the show, I will send you the link to the North Carolina investigators team. We're on every Tuesday and Thursday. And the lady also, Rachel, where are you from? You North Carolina, I'm assuming?
Right over the hill from Tim. I'm from Cullowhee, North Carolina.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Um, Also, if I can find it, David Walker's book, I wanted to expound. Oh, it's right in front of me. I love the Beowulf. We talked about it. That's what, part of 13th Warrior was based off the Beowulf story. I wanted to point out that according to David Walker, author David Walker, who's been on the show a couple of times, from his book Supernatural Cryptids Return of the Nephilim, which you can buy on Amazon as well, he points out that Grendel was not just a single creature, but the name of the mysterious giants known to hide in the swamplands away from human civilizations. What is that a reference to? Where do our Bigfoot hang out? The cedar swamps.
Mm-hmm.
So you go back in time and watch the Beowulf, and then his mother was supposed to be a dragon. We talked about that before. That when they had to go kill, and here this is interesting because I don't have my knife on me. I've got a knife that's made completely of Damascus steel, and the reason I got it, it's from the Beowulf narrative. That when they tried to kill, let me read this. After they killed Grendel, they hunted Grendel's mother, a female giant, and found her in an ancient hall that her and her son were using for a lair. As they engaged, they found that their own swords were useless against this formidable foe. And she ends up pinning him to the stone, basically, and squatting upon Beowulf's stomach. She drew out her dagger and attempted to kill him. However, let's see. Oh, yeah. So it was her sword. So they try to kill the dragon with their swords. There's no effect. Then Beowulf's mother sits upon Beowulf's stomach and draws out her dagger, already stained with dry blood from another victim, and attempted to kill Beowulf. However, fearing for his life, Beowulf miraculously broke free. Upon doing so, he noticed a huge sword hanging on the wall of the dragon's lair, apparently forged by dragons or giants of long ago. This was no ordinary sword. Beowulf could tell it was blessed with their magic and the best of all weapons. And so later he was able to kill. Upon grabbing the huge sword off the wall, Beowulf quickly turned around and raised its long steel blade high in the air against the female giantess, then swung it with all of his might downward and thus decapitating her. Now, I had read that could have been a Damascus steel type knife. So Laura, of course, for I think it was Christmas or my birthday, she got that for me. I've also heard of copper bullets, and that are the only thing that can kill giants. And then my friend dealing with the Wendigo, he went ahead, made his own copper bullets, after his research, and silver bullets as well, which we also know has a connection to werewolves. Man, so much information out there. Then, hey, if we talk about all the superheroes, I've got Spider-Man, I've got Superman, I got Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. We're talking about hybrids. When did Hollywood start learning about gods from the air? So I believe, this is Jonathan Cahn's book, Return of the Gods, that whether they be aliens or Superman-type beings that come back to Earth, this is a book about that, The Return of the Gods. So what say you, everybody at home? What are your thoughts? And then this book here, so you have the 1954 supposed meeting with Eisenhower and the aliens. Godzilla. I'm reading in this book right now. Came out 1954. In the 1960s, we start having the werewolf, Dracula, all of that. The 1980s, The Fly comes out. Jeff Goldblum.
Mm-hmm.
So the island of Dr. Moreau, we talked about all these things before. So it seems like somewhere in the 1900s, mid 1900s, we started gaining all this knowledge about other gods, about paranormal beings, aliens, hybrids. And to me, this is just knowledge that we either forgot about or it got lost, along the lines, the ancient Greek mythology tales, minotaurs, satyrs. So anyways, man, we could talk about this all night.
One thing, Boone, think about just the years up to 1955. Think back to the 1850s, the 1750s. And since 1955, how much our knowledge has increased. I mean, we were steadily going along, yes, but look how it has jumped since the 50s. You've got radiation inside your house cooking your food that is supposed to be safe. You've got all of this stuff, and
Wow.
none of that started until the 50s.
So there was a knowledge explosion, and you're asking the question, where do we get that knowledge from?
And that's the reason I do believe that Eisenhower, that to me, with what evidence is out there, it's more believable that he traded a few sheep, so to say, for the technology. So that because he wanted to be the best of the best. If we've got this technology, then nobody's going to be able to ever bother us again. And who honestly knows what technology we've got? Because when they went over and got that guy, Mandami or whatever his name was, they didn't even fire a shot. They used infrasound. They used audio. So
Yep.
if being hit with infrasound in the woods, I know exactly how it does. And that's exactly what it's like. It's just like the infrasound that a Bigfoot does, except on a larger scale.
Yeah.
Yep. And I
Stay with
heard,
your brain.
go ahead, Tim.
I was just going to say, so where did they get that technology from?
Exactly.
What about all the lost Tesla inventions? Whenever Nikola Tesla died and they raided his hotel room and took out he invented the death ray, but of course the government covered all that stuff up, took all of his trunks, hid his inventions.
Yep.
Like the electric car. That's just now coming back around.
Yep. Hey, Mike Nation on YouTube says hello, everyone. And Mike Gale, who we had on maybe a month or two ago, he's reminding everybody he was in the military and he saw that actual UFO craft on the back of a flatbed. It was partly uncovered. Part of it was cloaked. Part of it was not cloaked. Like it had crashed, and then the part that hit the ground kind of malfunctioned. You could see it, but then the rest of the craft, or the other half, was still cloaked. Sorry to cut you off, Rachel.
No, you're good.
All right, cool.
I mean, what do y'all think? Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
I want to say, what do y'all think about the Roswell cover-up?
Mm-hmm.
There again, you have the government covering it up, making up a fake, story. It was just, weather balloon with fake material. But yet, when I forget his name, Jesse Mitchell, was that his name? Who actually was the officer that was told to say that before he died. He came out with the statements. The truth was that was a cover up, and he came out with a statement that he actually brought the material home. His son saw it. Witnessed it. They crumpled it up, and it would just come back original, and just was fascinated. Writing on it, some glyphs on it of some sort.
Yeah,
I believe it.
back into shape.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. there's been so much misdirection with that story and so many side stories that alone tells me that it was probably true, and they've tried to figure out different ways of covering it up. So, and then here in Michigan, I acted in it a little bit, but I mainly helped produce it. We had an independent film here. It's funny because everybody knows Eminem, but Eminem's brother has been trying to be an actor, and so I helped produce a movie that he was starring in here in Michigan, and it was called Devil's Night: The Dawn of the Nain Rouge. And it's funny because I'm just like, I got my call from my director buddy. He's like, hey, we're filming a movie with Eminem's brother. Do you want in or not? I'm like, yeah, I'll do my standard, input of cash. So I'm like, what's the movie called? And he's like, oh, it's called Devil's Night, Dawn of the Nain Rouge. And back then, I didn't think anything about it. That was about 5-10 years ago. And then I come across a book. Now, I didn't even know what the Nain Rouge was. Here's what the Nain Rouge is. The Nain Rouge is one of Michigan's biggest urban legends. Nain Rouge is French for red dwarf. And according to local Detroit lore, Detroit's founder, Antoine de la Motte Cadillac, came across a demon-like creature that called itself the Nain Rouge. It was believed that the Nain Rouge cursed the city of Detroit. Reports of the creature have emerged over the years, generally during the city's most tragic events. So it's kind of like the Mothman. There were alleged sightings of the monster back in 1805 when a fire took place, which almost burnt Detroit to the ground. There was also reports of the Nain Rouge during the 1968 Detroit riots. During a snowstorm in 1976, authorities saw what they believed to be a child climbing a utility pole, but it turned out to be the red dwarf Nain Rouge. Today, the Nain Rouge has become an important part of the city's history and culture, with Detroit residents embracing it. And there's even an annual parade that celebrates the monster. So the Nain Rouge, meaning red dwarf. So there's another urban legend that was turned into a movie, and I helped produce it, and I didn't even know.
Wow.
All right, guys, we got anything else? We're gonna wrap it up. That was good stuff, man. I mean, really, we could research just a little bit. I did in researching tonight. We could research this all day long. Even like George Lunsford. What was that called? The Snallygagger or something? That's a storyline about something being frozen for who knows how long, and then it thaws out and it's attacking, people, and then there's the Tomorrow War, made with basically the same storyline. So yeah, we could do research until we turn blue in the face. What the show's all about, and I think you all agree, is we're here to kind of ring the bell, sound the alarm, let everyone know. And my theme seems to be for 2026 is monsters are real. What are you guys' thoughts about that?
Definitely.
I think most of them are in our government.
Yeah.
Good job, Rachel. For sure. All right, everybody, that wraps up another episode of Friday Night Bigfoot Live right here at the Bigfoots of America podcast show. For all of you, let's read one more. It says, yep, as a Michigander, I know that story of the Nain Rouge. My mom grew up in Detroit. Very cool, very cool. All right, everybody, we're going to wrap it up right now. Hey, let's go around the horn and everybody tell everybody watching where they can get a hold of you in particular. Go ahead, Sherry.
Well, everybody can obviously reach me through the Bigfoots of Michigan Facebook page. I am one of the moderators there, or you can reach me at Sherry Redu Facebook page.
Fantastic. Brenda, go for it. Brenda Goodwin, huge Skinwalker Ranch owner, Michigan Skinwalker Ranch. Where can people find you at? Season 3 episode coming out.
Yeah. Facebook or or the Bigfoot's Michigan private group.
Awesome. Cool. Go ahead, Rachel.
Facebook, Rachel Jones.
Fantastic.
Snapchat is. What is my Snapchat? I already forgot. Email address is rajones7213@gmail. I am on Snapchat, Shadows of WNC13, TikTok, Shadows of Appalachia 13.
Fantastic. Tim Dills, go ahead.
You can find me at Tim Dills 13 on TikTok, YouTube, X, Instagram, and the grocery store. Oh, and every Tuesday and Thursday night with you and the rest of the guys is on YouTube at NCI.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Thanks for watching this show, everybody. Please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Bigfoots of Michigan or Bigfoots of America, whatever you want to punch in there. It should come up, or even Bigfoots of Michigan channel. Like and subscribe. It's free. And with that said, you can email me at bigfootsofamerica@gmail or bigfootsofmichigan@gmail.com. We're going to end it with what Dennis Dean is saying right here. Dennis Dean, one of my main Bigfoot sources here in Michigan, says, my dad was stationed at Edwards Air Force Base when President Eisenhower met the aliens at the base, and all of this is said to be a true story.
Yep.
There you go. All right, everybody. Stay in the green room. I'll talk to you in a little bit. Everybody at home, thanks for tuning in. And tune back in next week for
Have a good
Friday Night
night.
Bigfoot Live. Bye.
Have a good night.
Bye.